bearer of the Mask of Shadows. When darkness falls, he becomes the walker between the worlds, immortal voodoo warrior, taker of souls, lord of Deadside, the Shadow Man.
The 9th of November, 1888. By my deeds am I known, and I am known as Jack. Spring-heeled Jack, Jack the Ripper. By my deeds am I known, and they are truly bloody. I took them all to my heart. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Kelly, and loved them, truly loved them all. But the immortal power I sought within the sordid confines of their bodies, the still beating organ of the soul, was not to be found. The ritual of the knife was to no avail. I am bereft, and must therefore perform that bloody ritual upon myself.
Stay your hand, Jack, and listen to what I have to say.
How did you find this place? Who are you?
My name is Legion, for we are many. The immortal power that you seek does exist. It does indeed lie within the soul, but only within certain ones, certain dark souls.
My God! What are you that you can produce such things from thin air?
Merely an explorer, much like yourself.
What is it that you want from me?
You are an architect by trade, are you not?
I am.
Then I would have you build a cathedral to pain, a place where you and I and others like us may join together. A place of asylum for all of the unique and misunderstood individuals that will follow you as the time of Armageddon approaches. And at the heart of asylum, we shall construct a great dark engine powered by souls of equal hue. And we shall harness their power to create an immortal army to punish and cleanse this pathetic world.
And where might I build this cathedral of yours?
Across the veil. In the darkness, amongst the restless spirits of those who have passed beyond, in the place known as Deadside.
Then, if I am to join you, I must die.
It is prophecy. We cannot fail, for we are many.
For we are many!
Amen to that.
The end is sooner than you think.
Come to mama, baby.
Hey there,
Catch me if you can.
Damn beautiful friend.
Are many.
There's a darkness coming.
What's the problem, Magneta?
I had a dream, Shadow Man. A real bad dream. A Deadside dream. The five are here. The heralds of the apocalypse. Beacon's file confirms everything I feared. The end's coming, Shadow Man. An ancient prophecy tells of the return of a great evil to Deadside. A terrible force gathering dark souls to its darker heart and using their power to cross over into this world and bring about apocalypse.
I must stop this evil from bringing about the end of all things.
Only you can do it, Shadow Man. You are the walker between the worlds. I can't go Deadside, and Jaunty's next to useless in both worlds. You are the only one who can do anything about this.
As it ever was.
But you ain't never confronted anything like this evil. It's so pure, not even the ancient protectors of the Dark Souls could destroy it. They could only banish it from Deadside. They knew it'd come back one day. Hence the prophecy telling of its return. The power of the ancients is all but gone now, and the dark souls that evil desires lie unprotected. What you gotta do, Shadow Man, is to go Deadside and recover the dark souls. Take them into your own protection before evil gathers them to its terrible heart.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I don't recover these dark souls, then the world's gonna end. Am I right?
You got it.
Shit.
Look, I gotta go. I've got a lot to do. Take Deacon's file and meet me at dawn at the church on the hill. I've kept your stuff safe for you.
I hate this shit. Just a pawn in Nettie's master plan. She moves me in mysterious ways, and brother, sometimes she really does move me. Can't do nothing about it since, nice as you please, she knitted my ribs into the mask of shadows. I got nothing left anyways. It's my fault Luke's dead, and Mom and Pop too. I deserve everything I get. Every bad thing that comes my way. Can't live, can't die. Deadside's the perfect hood for me. A nowhere place. The asshole of the universe. Now where the hell is that church? Huh? Made it. Nettie?
Hey there, Mike. Glad you could make it.
How could I refuse your offer? How could I ever refuse you, Agneta?
You can't. I'm simply irresistible. I hope you read the file I gave you, and read it real well. Between the lines, you'll find the signs.
You got my stuff?
Come on in, honey.
You know, on the way over here, I got to thinking about these dark souls. If they're so damn dangerous, why didn't the ancients just destroy them?
Because that's impossible. Their power is their immortality. If evil ever manages to implant these immortal souls into its monstrous slaves, can you imagine the carnage an immortal, unbeatable army would bring to the earth? That's Apocalypse, Shadow Man. That's the end.
Okay, so I really gotta get to the Dark Souls before the bad guy. I understand that, but where do I find them?
In Govi. Each covey has been sealed by the most powerful voodoo. Not even the greatest Bokor or Mambo can open them to release the dark soul within. Believe me, I've tried. But a shadow man, or something even more powerful, just might be able to do it. Release the dark soul and take it into yourself. But be warned, the dark souls are a pure and ancient evil and possess a power that should not be abused.
Okay. Let's just get this thing over with. You got my stuff?
Right here.
A real scare, Mike.
Jesus, Luke! He's alive! Alive and in pain. I gotta help him.
He's dead, Mike. You know that.
I know, but I saw.
It's understandable that you still have strong feelings for your brother. That's why the bear works for you, connecting you to Deadside. Use it now, Mike. Go Deadside and find Jonty. He's waiting for you at the Marrow Gates. He's got something to show you.
Okay.
And Mike?
Yeah?
If you need me, I'll be here. Now, go see Jonty and get them dark souls.
Whoops. I need to find the surface pretty damn soon. God, where's the damn surface? I'm wasting my time here. I should just use Luke's bear and go Deadside. I need air, and quick. I ought to go Deadside like Nettie suggested. Leastways, it's safer in this place. should just use Luke's bear and go deadside. Nothing else of use around here. Go deadside like Nettie suggested. Leastways it's safer in this place. Something down here. That's interesting.
Come on, Slowpoke.
There's no time to waste. Use Luke's bear and go deadside.
I am the Lord of Deadside, Shadowborn at the confluence of worlds to walk between. Lifeside is without the meaning that my partly living possesses here in Deadside, where the darkness is manifest at the edges of reason. As a god, I step forth upon the writhing, suppurating surface of the Deadside Serpent. What sleep is here? What dreams there are in the unctuous coilings of the snake's mortal shuffling. Weapon in my hand, the arcing death blow at the end of all things. The horror, I embrace it.
Hello there, Michael. How's that treating you?
Jaunty, kindly refer to me as Shadow Man. Michael Leroy has no place here in Deadside.
Whatever, Mick, it's good to see you again. Seems like simply ages since I last set me eyes on your happy, smiling mug.
The feeling's mutual.
I suppose you've been away dallying with the old battle axe, giving her one with some of that righteous voodoo so she can stay forever young?
Something like that.
She's been filling your head with her fated pillow talk again, I'll bet. Doomsday in an army giddy until you're drunk with the stuff.
She did happen to mention a certain prophetic dream she's been having.
Did she now? Well, for once I think the owl witch might be right. See that bloody big black tower yonder?
How could I miss it?
Well, old Bruegel, the medieval painter blokey, was just telling me the other day that he thought it looked remarkably like a picture he once did.
Is that Peter Bruegel?
No, Seamus, his distant Irish cousin. Anyways, he was quite shocked, so he was, at the terrible mess that bloody thing's making. Appearing out of nowhere and tearing its way through the place like there's no tomorrow. Which, given what Nettie's saying, might not be too far from the truth.
Any idea what's going on in there?
Nope, and I shan't be knocking on the front door to find out neither. All I'll say is, if there's something wicked heading this way, it'll be coming from in there.
Nettie mentioned the Dark Souls. Can you tell me any more about them?
I'm afraid I'll have to reply in the negative again, Michael. Suffice it to say, Nettie's told me that they're bloody powerful, well nigh indestructible, and shouldn't fall into the wrong hands.
Any idea where they might be?
What am I, a Dark Soul travel guide now? I suppose you could try all of the ancient sacred places down amongst the whalers and shiverers. I just hope that none of them souls have ended up in that filthy big black tower.
From what Nettie was saying, some of them already have, which is all the more reason for me to be pushing on. Open the gates, Jaunty.
Places to go, people to see, eh, Michael?
Just open the gates, Jaunty.
Did I ever tell you about the time me and Attila the Hun were playing skittles with the guillotine heads of the French aristocracy?
Jaunty.
All right, keep your bloody hair on. Which, looking at your shining bonds, may prove to be rather difficult. Open sesame! And if you be wanting to pop by and chat a while, I'll still be here. It's just a shame we can't share a drop of the hard stuff together by a ardent peat fire.
I don't drink with snakes.
Michael, back so soon? Getting a bit too spooky for you, huh? Scaring the bejesus out of you, huh?
Jaunty, much as it pains me to admit it, I need your advice.
Is that right? Well, fire away. Not literally, mind you.
Nettie sent me to look for these Govi that supposedly contain the Dark Souls. Well, I've not even come close to one.
Ah, poor you. Let me put it this way. If you were trying to keep a source of immortal cosmic power from falling into the hands of the ultimate in evil, would you leave that source of lying around the place for the world and his wife to stumble across?
I guess not.
Well then, you're going to have to look a little harder, aren't you?
I guess so.
And Michael?
Yes.
I wouldn't worry your pretty little bald head about it too much. I mean, it's only the end of the world. You!
This is the Deadside, the wasteland, the nothing beyond the bone-packed gates. Here Luke, my dear lost brother, wanders alone amidst the aimless ranks of those who cannot die. He still, with the ache for death, I too may discover within my blighted heart. Here, the true darkness at the heart of all things is made real. What we see in death's dominion is as void as a dead man's gaze, as cold as the light from a dying star. Nettie, I've been Deadside, beyond the Marrow Gates, but I see no evidence of the Govi, nor the Dark Souls.
Well, you just need to look a little harder. The Dark Souls ain't just gonna be lying around the place. They're sacred, which means they're gonna be hidden.
Okay, but where?
How the hell do I know? You're the Shadow Man. You know the sacred pathway through Deadside. Get yourself back there and use your eyes. Try that again, and I send you to Deadside myself.
Come on, Slowpoke.
Lord of Deadside. Looks like someone left me a note.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
I've gone deeper into Deadside and discovered a place that only shadow men may enter. But I'll be damned if I can find a dark soul.
You will be damned if you don't get yourself together, Shadow Man. The prophecy is taking effect. You found the Pass of Shadow built by your predecessor, Maxim St. James. Search the pass for the Govi, and when you find one, use your shadow powers to open it. Now get to it!
Come on, Slowpoke.
Well, if it isn't the old friend Michael, have you found anything yet?
I've discovered a place that only shadow men can enter, but I have yet to collect a dark soul.
I seem to recall one of your predecessors, Maxim St. James, a shadow man of some repute, I might add, explaining to me that he'd had some time on his hands one aeon, and had set about building a safe route through Deadside. Paths of Shadow was what he called it.
That is the place I've discovered. Dark it is, and rank with the stench of defilement.
That sounds like St. James. Of course, it's anyone's guess where in hell the paths lead to now after that filthy black tower tore the place up.
I must return to the paths of shadow and continue my search for Govi.
And when you find one, use your shadow powers. Shoot it with your bloody gun if you have to. That'd be the way to get the dark soul out of it.
For once, I believe I'm going to take your advice.
You can always rely on me, you wee gouger.
Always is too long a time to rely on anyone, especially a skull-headed snake.
Oh, and Mikey,
Yes,
I hope you can remember your way back. Yikes! Now, you can take somebody's eye out with that.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
this should be useful. Power of the Dark Souls. I embrace it. Great.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
Long time no see, Michael.
I have found and taken a dark soul. Nettie was right about them. Never have I experienced such hatred and corruption. The dark fire burns within me with such ferocity that I am afraid it may consume me. And yet, these glowering flames are as a joy to me. My ability to channel my shadow powers has increased, and I feel so much more.
Dangerous? All I ask is that you be careful, Mikey. The power of the Dark Souls is very great and very, very evil, which is why you need to get them before anyone else.
Then I have no time to waste.
Come on, Slowpoke.
I've found and taken a dark soul, Nettie. Its power is real strong. I can feel it surging through me. How many should I take?
It is said that the Dark Souls numbered 60, enough for an entire army. Keep going, Mike. You're doing real good. But remember, the power surging through you is very dark and very pure. Respect it.
I'm the Lord of Deadside. Unsalvaged souls that drift beyond the marrow gates for an eternity of waiting. This infinite limbo, this wasteland, this untamed, unnatural afterbirth I command with my endless darkness. What ineffable secrets are whispered within the paths of shadow? What red-edge realities rising bleak above the blasted skyline? Deadwing, Duppy, Zombie Mother. This voodoo lord outlasts them all. Dark Souls. I embrace it. I'm...
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
My shadow powers increase, Nettie. As they do, I feel as if a great darkness is threatening to swallow me up.
You ain't felt nothing yet, Shadow Man. You ain't been inside the asylum. It's your fate to go inside the rotten heart of Deadside and then pass beyond it to the Five.
So the 5 serial killers Deacon mentioned in his report are from Deadside?
The 5 are mortal men under the influence of a greater evil. They are the heralds for the apocalypse, opening the way for the armies of the damned, the power of the dark souls unleashed upon the earth.
So I guess it's next stop Asylum.
Damn right. Get yourself in there and find out how to stop the 5 from opening the way, and keep taking them dark souls.
Come on, Slowpoke.
How are you doing, Michael?
I've been putting 2 and 2 together.
So you're a mathematical genius now.
And what this all adds up to is...
A whole heap of stinking cow shite.
Will you please let me finish?
Sorry, you were saying?
The Black Tower plowing its way through Deadside is called the Asylum. Something, I'm not sure exactly what, has somehow projected 5 of these dark souls across the veil to Liveside. These dark souls now empower the twisted minds of 5 serial killers. It seems that these 5 are the heralds of apocalypse, preparing the way for that immortal dark soul army Nettie spoke of. But I guess you already know all of this.
All I know is you're in a whole heap of stinking cow shite. I also know that you need to find a way into the asylum, because if you can do that, then you may be able to find out how this terrible something projected the 5 across the veil. And if you can do that small thing, then you may be able to put a stop to his decidedly dastardly plan.
Oh, is that all?
What, and you thought being a super powerful undead voodoo god and lord at Deadside was going to be easy?
I didn't really have any choice in the matter, if you recall.
Whatever. If you're looking for a way into the asylum, you might try exploring the paths of shadow. The filthy place is torn up so much at Deadside, it's bound to have an outlet somewhere.
You know, that sounds like surprisingly good advice.
Always glad to be of service to a voodoo demigod. Now piss away.
The Paths of Shadow.
Oh, and Michael,
What is it?
when you do finally get into the asylum, make sure you tell Jeffrey Dahmer I said how are you. Now, you could take somebody's eye out with that.
Come on, Slowpoke.
I'm the Lord of Deadside. And into Asylum, like a great black engine roaring to eternity, ravaging the already benighted landscape with its savage, malevolent presence. And within the legions of the truly damned, insanity, sheer and stark, and once in human form, now gutted and torn by eons of glutted indulgence. Their bloodlust flecking the oily walls, living in the shrieks of victims ensnared, hanged, drawn, and quartered by the serpent's squalid writhings. This is the place I have not wanted to dream of, and the dream is now the place I partly live through. Across the millennia, they have built a cathedral to pain and worship at its altars of blood. Dark Souls. I embrace it. I seem to recall Jaunty speaking of corpses and gateways, as though the two were one and the same. But how do I make this bloody vessel work for me? followed the Dark Soul's trail into the asylum, but where the hell are the five?
They're in this world, Shadow Man. 5 mortal men touched by the power of the Dark Souls. Unlike you, they don't have the Mask of Shadows controlling and channeling the dark power. It twists their minds, fills their already tainted hearts with even greater perversions, and a hatred so terrible it has sent them insane.
Okay, so they're in this world, but where exactly?
That's your job, Shadow Man. You gotta go back to the asylum and find a way through. The same way the Dark Souls found their way into the 5. Hunt the mothers down, Shadow Man, and kick their sorry asses. But remember, they possess an immortal power, and only by taking their souls will you truly defeat them.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
What can I do for you, Michael?
I have entered the asylum, a truly terrible place. Far more dreadful than even the most twisted mind could have imagined.
I suspected as much.
Nettie has informed me that I must find a way to reach the 5 from within the asylum. It would seem that the serial killers Thomas Deacon profiled for us are indeed preparing for the crossing over of the Dark Soul armies. I know that you and I may pass freely between the worlds of Deadside and Liveside, but what of the 5? How is it that they have been able to journey across the veil from the asylum to their Liveside lairs?
Well, there was that little incident with Tommy Lee's undead gang a while back. Seemed like an aberration at the time, but thinking about it, could have been a trial run. You know, this may sound crazy, but I think you should be looking for a corpse. Or 5 of them.
5 corpses?
The way I see it, you trap 2 souls and keep them in a state of flux between the worlds. One in dead side, the other live side. Neither can cross over from one plane of existence to the next, nor pass beyond. Ergo, a schism, or bridge is formed between the worlds. So, yes, you're looking for 5 ritually slaughtered corpses somewhere in the asylum.
Jonty, there are a great many corpses in the asylum.
Granted, but these will be special in some way, in a special place. Of course, if you do manage to find your way across to these psycho loonies, you better have your shadow powers at the ready. I got a feeling you're gonna need them. Now, you can take somebody's eye out with that.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
spoken of in whispers at the deadside margins, in the hushed and shivering tones of the lurking, lurching revenants. These ancient places, blood temples to the lower, where the dark souls did find their secret corner, hidden by the sanguinary sisters steeped in voodoo lore. sisters awake. The sister's awake.
Hiss.
Come on, Slowpoke. Come on, Slowpoke.
the Lord of Deadside. This should be useful. Souls are mine.
Come on, Slowpoke.
embrace.
Power of the Dark Souls. I embrace it.
Michael, over here! What can I do for you, Michael?
I have entered the asylum, a truly terrible place. Far more dreadful than even the most twisted mind could have imagined.
I suspected as much.
Nettie has informed me that I must find a way to reach the Five from within the...
You!
This should be useful.